cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife. Leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. Black and white, no more, baby. Love, no more, baby. Black and white, no more, baby. Love, no more, baby. Just black and white. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh. 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 Just black and white. Black and white.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Simracersworld TV, and welcome to another 3 rounds in the Simracersworld TCR Series Season 3. Chaz Draycott here with the wonderful Peter MacKay alongside me again for some Tuesday night mayhem. Peter, we've had a wonderful time in this championship, and we say it every single week, don't we? But this is probably, other than, well, I'm not going to mention another series that we commentate on, but honestly, the action in this series, I mean, we don't often see much more in a certain race evening, do we? Compared to other series we've seen before. It's just bonkers, this championship, isn't it?
Indeed it is, yes, absolutely. And we do have, we're very lucky because we do have a really high standard of driver at the front. Some really quick guys: Corrington Guinness, Roman Bokler, Fraser Smith, Damien Harris, and a whole cast of others. And they're going to be put to the test tonight at Zolder. It's a very technical circuit, actually, and will really cut the very best drivers from the rest tonight, because in the touring car you can't afford to scrub off too much speed. It doesn't have the grunt to get you out of a dodgy situation, if you like. So here at Zolder you need to be absolutely picture perfect, and well, at the moment, goodness, in qualifying it's Naveed Hussain who holds that honour.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, we've seen that he's been really quick in recent weeks as Guinness goes back to the top. 0.003 of a second between him and Hussain. It's absolutely amazing how close these guys do get. I was just looking at the championship standings as well, actually. We'll go from the ground up, actually, because in the academy class, it's actually this man, Niles de Kuiper, that is currently the fastest in that class here, and he's actually the highest placed in the championship as well. He is 24 points ahead of Ryan Walker, who had a fantastic time out last time at Oran Park 2 weeks ago. And then Paul Godden is another 28 points back in third in that championship. They're in the mix for pole position in qualifying so far. Bram Class, I mean, we do make jokes of his name, Bram Class leading the class, but he is leading the class not just in qualifying, but also in the championship. He is 10 points ahead of Michael Blake, which is actually the car right in front of him on track as well, the number 118 machine. He has a 38-point advantage over Jessica Myers, but unfortunately, Jessica having another qualifying ban this week. She's been involved in a lot of incidents this season, and it is not helping out in the long run. But as you can expect, top of the pile overall, even after missing the first race meeting, is Corrington Guinness. He has 30 points over his teammate Roman Bokler, who's just behind him on track. And then it's Damien Harris that is currently third in the standings, but I'm just looking up and down the order. He is out there. Here he is, scaring the life out of me down the straight. He's third in the championship, 66 points off the top spot as Freitas straight up there. Now, in terms of championship points though, Peter, the guys can get 180 over an evening. It's 60 points for a race win. So the fact that Damien Harris is 66 points off the very top spot, it's, well, you'd think it would be definitely doable that he'd come back from this, but we've seen how consistent Corrington Guinness can be, haven't we?
Indeed we have, yeah. He has just been metronomic, really, and it must be a little bit disheartening for his competitors. But here at Zolder, there is danger at every turn. You've got the fast kind of opening section, quite high speed corners where you've got to be really precise, and then you get up to the Klein chicane, which was actually installed in 1972. A lot of people think a lot of chicanes are quite modern, but in fact the Klein chicane was put in 1972 before Formula One came to visit in 1973. And actually, of course, the final chicane here at Zolder is called the Jackie X chicane, and Jackie X plays a very important part in the kind of myth of Zolder, because back in 1973, when the Formula One guys came along, the track had been resurfaced, and that resurfacing hadn't been done very well. So the surface was cracking up and stuff, and not really what you need in a 1970s Formula One car. So all the drivers organised a boycott and said, we're not racing because you're not going to sort it, so we're not racing. So it came down to a bit of a Mexican standoff, and just before the race was about to their drivers are about to go to the grid, all the drivers are standing there in their kind of civvies or some in their race suits, and Jackie X climbs into his car, gets in, and roars off down the pit lane. And the rest of the other drivers sort of look at each other going, well, I guess we better get on with this then. So on the helmets go, on go the gloves, and they had the race. And Jackie Stewart, my fellow sideburn enthusiast, went on to win the race for Tyrrell on the way to his third championship. So Jackie X is they've named a corner after him, but if it weren't for Jackie, maybe that 1973 Belgian Grand Prix wouldn't have gone ahead at all.
Yeah, it's amazing that, you know, there have been a lot of boycotts and sort of Mexican standoffs, as you mentioned there, in the sport. And I mean, Formula One especially, you know, it makes the drivers seem like right divas, but there have been a number of them, and they're all very intriguing stories. And you know, I'm amazed that the guts it takes for the drivers to do that, because you know, especially with how many sponsorship deals and the commercial side of things could be put on the line from it all. But it's great to hear that they do, you know, they have the passion for good racing and just good quality of, well, the product they're getting, essentially, isn't it? The circuit that they get to race on. So yeah, it's very interesting. It's what Jürgen Knockout makes the chicane interesting indeed. I did notice as well that the corner just before that, as you just go over the hill there, as Ben Hicks has just come out of, I thought we were just going to catch him in time going up to it. Norbert Leitner's about to get to the chicane. It's actually just called butt, as in backside, which made me giggle because I'm an absolute child.
Well, I was about to say, you'd have got me there as well. The Klein chicane, in that part of the yes, I'm now looking at my track map, and do you know, I'm disappointed in myself. I haven't noticed that up to now. that is terrible. Well, funnily enough, I was going to go down a similar line with the Klein chicane, which of course is just a couple of 100 meters further back. Now that chicane is not. It's very satisfying when you get it right, but it's not often that you get it right. And I think a lot of drivers have another name for that chicane. They replace Klein with another word, which we couldn't really repeat here on Simracersworld TV.
No, and I'm sure I can guess what it is because I've driven that chicane and it's an absolute nightmare. But it's certainly an interesting one, that's for sure. I've actually watched Euro NASCAR race around here, not just in the sim but in real life, and because of how soft the suspension is on cars like that, you know, they do these jumps over the curbs, but the wheels really hang down from the body, and they just look like monster trucks going over the curbs there. It's hilarious. They've got massive clearance, and it really is an awesome thing to see. So if you haven't seen it before, everybody, obviously wait until after this broadcast, but do go and check it out. It really is amazing to see Euro NASCAR machinery racing around somewhere as tight and twisty as Zolder. I think when you're talking corner names, Peter, I think I'd say turn 2 is probably my my favourite name. It's Sterrenwachtbocht, if that's a way of saying it. I'm sure I've probably butchered it anyway, but it's turn 2, Sterrenwachtbocht is probably a way if I'm not going to try and overdo it. But it's a difficult corner to get right because you come out of turn 1, see whether we've got anyone going to the line now. Actually, Ashley Gaffall, go on board with Ashley, although I think he might be just pulling out of a lap here. I think Lee Bowden's behind him. Turn 1's difficult because you've got one tiny bit of an apex and you've got to come in from a long way away, not let the car run wide onto the gravel. You've got to get all the way over to the left again, don't hit the grass on the brakes, and again it's just this really long, strange apex. There's like 3 or 4 different lines going around there. You can turn in early and wash out wide on the exit because it's one of the widest parts of the circuit, but at the same time you can turn in late and get a good run out there down to the right-hander here. But it's a place where we're going to see a lot of overlaps, isn't it, especially in a series like this?
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, at the front of the field, we've got such a tightly packed field. As you can see, the top sort of 9 or 10 covered by half a second. And of course, the guys at the front, I mean, look at that. Cornton Guinness and Roman Vogtler, the teammates, 0.08 of a second apart. So you're going to have to get creative to make your moves here. One potential opportunity, of course, is down into the Gilles Villeneuve chicane at the bottom of the hill there, because it is a bit of a block pass. It will require a little bit of paint scraping, a little bit of sacrificing of spec map going into there. But it is an opportunity, and it's not something you would maybe want to pull off in a single-seater car, but in these touring cars, well, the Audis have got box arches for a reason.
Yes, indeed. They're going to be used to their fullest tonight as well. It's not the widest of circuits in the world, but either way, it's a very pretty one as well, to be fair. You know, typical to a Belgian circuit to be in the forest, essentially. We've got Spa-Francorchamps, of course, in the Ardennes forest. Zolder here, covered in trees as well, but I think that's what helps it feel like a small circuit when you're racing on it. Don't you agree? It feels like everything is very compact, and I mean, it's similar to Brands in the way that the circuit sort of filters back around so close to the back of the pit lane. You don't get a massive paddock there, do you? I think we may have just lost Peter there for a second. Oh, as we've lost Anton Dupin for a second. Flipping heck. Managed to hit the atmosphere and bounce back down. And that's not going to have done the car any good, to be honest. Matthias Tetij was one of the cars that went past. Damien Harris as well, right behind his teammate Matthew Crisp. Damien currently quicker at the moment. Sorry, Matthew quicker at the moment. Crispy. But Damien needs to be right up there for championship points. Currently third in the standings behind the two men that are at the front of the pack in this qualifying session, Corentin Guinez and Roman Boekler. They've got Norbert Leitner in fifth as well, so HM Engineering on a real flyer. This is definite sign that they're helping each other out here, Peter. Yes, we can hear you, mate. Hello.
My apologies. I've got a new fancy microphone, thinking I'm big and clever, and thinking I'm thinking I'm a pro, and it's letting me down tonight. I do apologise.
It's technology, mate. We can't rely on it. It's a pain in the backside.
I know, and you know what I said was probably the most interesting thing I've ever come up with in my life.
I'll give you another go at it if you want.
It's so interesting, I've forgotten. Oh, no, I do remember now. Yes, of course, the circuit here at Zolder does follow the contours of the land, like Brands Hatch, like you were saying. But John Hugenholt Sr., the designer of Zolder, was also the designer of Zandvoort and Suzuka. Now, Zandvoort is another one that follows the kind of in between the dunes on the Dutch coast. But Suzuka was slightly different. Suzuka, Mr. Honda basically asked him to design a circuit, and again John went about designing it around the contours, and Mr. Honda says no, you tell us what you want, where you want the racetrack, and we'll just move the dirt out of the way. Leave that to us, sort of thing.
I like that. I love the idea of having that, to be fair, because you know it makes a circuit, it just gives it a bit more character. You know, I've always said this, and you know, Silverstone is the home of British motorsport, and it's, you know, it's still a great circuit. I was racing there on the weekend, and it always feels like a track that gives you a lot of understeer. It doesn't feel like an interesting track when you first get to it, but when you compare that to the likes of Brands Hatch and Alton Park that have all these hills, and even Donington, you know, there's so much undulation, just having that altitude difference makes such a fantastic amount of difference, really, in terms of the character of the circuit. You know, it just means that you can see a bit more of it. It makes corners that little bit more challenging rather than just being flat everywhere. Certain corners give you the sort of inkling that you've got more grip than potentially you could have in other corners where the circuit goes away from you. I can't see how people can have racing circuits without having at least some undulation. And obviously a lot of the fact behind that is that, you know, most of them are built on airfields because they've got all the real estate to do it with. But at the same time, you know, if they can move dirt out of the way in Japan, surely they can put some dirt in the way over here.
I think Mr. Honda's influence in sort of early 1960s Japan was pretty significant. I think you'd be told to get lost in a planning department in the UK at least anyway now. But yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? I tell you what, speaking of Alton Park, when you come up the hill, and every single time you come up Clay Hill and over the oil slick, you just think, "Whoa, here we go." You kind of take a kind of deep breath in, don't you? And you sort of shoot up, especially if you're in quite a quick car.
Yeah.
You go underneath the bridge and you think, "Wow, here we go. This is what it's about." But of course, you have a bit of that here at Zolder when you come out the Klein chicane and you go up over the crest, and especially you won't have too much of an issue in these touring cars. But if you're in a single seater going over the crest there, it can get pretty lively, and then as soon as you're over the hill, you know, you jam on the brakes for the Gilles Villeneuve chicane.
Yeah, that's it. You get this sudden build-up of speed when you go back down the hill, and it can catch you off guard. You know, you've been used to braking where you're braking for the other corners leading up to it, but then suddenly you have to brake a little bit earlier because you just gain so much speed so quickly out of the car. It is pretty bonkers. But either way, we've got a very close qualifying session going on. We've got only a minute and 20 seconds left to go. Guinez, Boekler, Freitas, Hussein and Harris, the top five. Fraser Smith back out there again this evening, currently 6th at the moment. Doesn't look like we've got Ollie Peacock this week, unfortunately. It was Fraser's sort of stablemate, you could say. But I was speaking again of Alton Park. I know it's a place we both love. I was actually driving around there in a different sim today, in the 1999 Nissan Primera BTCC car, using a sequential shifter and racing other super touring cars, the BMW 3 Series and other Nissan Primeras, and it was one of the most immersive racing experiences I've ever had, because just having to use my left hand for the shifter as well. You know, you've got to have a hand off the wheel for most of the lap round there. It just makes it more of a challenge, and it's just so exciting to drive. But a lot of it lends that to Alton Park. I mean, it's similar to this. You know, Zolder is the same, as you've said. It's very stop-start, isn't it? You know, you get an acceleration zone into a hard braking zone in a difficult corner, and they've got to think about curbs tonight as well. That's an important feature of this track, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Especially with the touring cars, you've got to ride the curbs in just the correct way. As we just see the session ticking over, and we'll be about ready to go for the first race.
We will indeed. So we'll bring up the grid now then. Corentin Guinez and his teammate Roman Bokler are going to be working together in this one ahead of Miguel Freitas and David Hussein. Then we have Damien Harris and Fraser Smith. Norbert Leitner lines up alongside Anton Dupin, with Matthias Letige only half a second off in 9th. Matthew Crisp 1,000th of a second back. 100th of a second back, car 11 P11, Keanu Bourguignon ahead of Mark Woodhouse, with Mats Borg Anderson ahead of Lee Bowden, the fastest consistency class driver out there in qualifying. We then have Bram Klaas and Ashley Gaffal, Jürgen Knockaert and Niles de Kuiper, the highest two academy drivers, followed by Anders Lillejordet, Michael Blake, Ben Hicks and Daniele Giudici. Craig Schill is alongside Ryan Walker on the 12th row of the grid, with Paul Godden, Danny Fenning, Jessica Myers and Jean-Louis Deschamps at the back of the field. But we've got these two HM Engineering cars at the front, Peter. Very quickly, who are your eyes on for this one?
I wonder. I think I've got to watch out for Freitas. I think he's riding the crest of some newly found confidence, I think.
Well, we'll have to see how he gets on here. He's got a big mountain to climb in terms of the drivers that are ahead of him, but not many to get past. So we should have the lights in just a moment. We're just waiting for Ryan Walker. Actually, Jessica Myers and Jean-Louis Deschamps also not taken to the grid yet. You can hear the ambient sounds in the background. You can see the green flag man is clearly way too excited for his own good to get going. But it's a fantastic looking grid.
He looks like he's about to do a front flip
off the board and in. Right then, round 21 of the Simracersworld TCR Series is underway. In typically anticlimactic fashion, as the drivers don't build the revs up. They don't want wheel spin off the line. Filtered nicely, like a bottle of Cravendale into turn 1. Everyone's seemingly tidy through there, actually, which is very difficult to get right, isn't it, Peter? Because like I said before, there's so many lines that you can take around these corners here. It's easy to overdo it and try and compensate too much, but clean stuff, really, by the look of it. Oh, I say that.
Don't jinx it. This is it. Guinez has got away clean from pole position. Bokler right in behind him, and Freitas, Hussein and Harris who really need to try and break up this HM Engineering stronghold. My goodness me, I thought that was going to be an HM Engineering gravel trap there. Wow, oof, you see Norbert Leitner doing a full rallycross jump over there. Goodness me, and wow, Ben Hicks getting a bit arty-barty alongside Jürgen Knockaert. Oh, no, Jürgen Knockout. Oh dear. Oh, Ryan Walker. Oh, Ryan Walker is spinning.
Nearly saved it. It was a little bit unnecessary to keep the contact going on the exit there. The two of them seem to just drive into each other. But Roman Bokler has gone off and lost a number of places here, Peter. We'll have to have a look at this as well. I think he might have got held up in the chicane, you know, but him and Miguel both went off track. This is where Miguel got it done. So going down to the chicane, Miguel goes to the left, goes to the right. Roman's on the inside, but of course that's going to be the outside for the second part. We did look away at this point. Oh, big jump through the air. Oh, Damien Harris and David Hussein have gone off as well. But that was Miguel. Oh, he got a slowdown penalty. That's where he gained the positions. But it was Ben Hicks and Daniele Giudici that both went off. We are going to have a look because Damien Harris and David Hussein are both still off the circuit. Well, this is what happened a bit further back. So you got Ben Hicks on the inside in the Ignium car. Giudici on the outside. There's a little bit of contact there.
Oh, he just catches the curb.
Yeah, Ben's a little bit out of shape. Walker tries to take advantage. The cars just seemed to get stuck together, didn't they? It's a real shame. But let's see what happened to Naveed and Damien then, Peter.
Right, let's have a look. Thank goodness, it's all happening. It was going very smoothly through the opening session, and then somebody threw a grenade in there. So down towards Boulderbocht, Boulderberg Bocht, and then up towards Jackie X2 Jockenrint, which is just a kind of flat out S there, over towards the Jackie X final chicane now. Damien Harris goes to the inside. Big lunge.
Oh no!
Barge.
He's going to drill him.
Oh dear. Oh my, and again.
Oh, we've got more cars off as well now. Matsborg Anderson's in the wall. Lee Bowden also off. Flipping heck, nobody wants to survive this race. They're just all chucking it. The scenery here. We'll have to have a quick look.
Look good though.
Yeah, they do. Oh yeah, gold wheels are always the one. So this is what happened to Lee Bowden. He's got brown class there. Oh, the tiniest of wheel touches on the way into the Villeneuve chicane. Oh, and he smashes into the side of Matsborg Anderson, who ends up off the circuit and back into the pit lane, unfortunately. Out front, though, Guinness doesn't give one, does he? He's away, but he's got Freitas right behind, and we know how quick Miguel's been recently, so this could be a chase for the ages here. Two of our most dominant ever champions in this series. One-on-one, out front, away from this lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to think Miguel Freitas, he was kind of the previous SRW TCR royalty, and Corentin Guinness has kind of come in and stamped all over that authority, if you like. And Miguel Freitas will want to really prove his worth here. And of course, racing is such a confidence sport. It's so based on the mental aspect. And you know, Miguel had a really pretty rough time in the Simracersworld Z1 Dashboard Winter Series. But I tell you what, from about mid-season on, in this main season, he's really come back to his proper best, his vintage best, if you like, for the man from Porto.
Indeed, yeah. I always joke about these two having their racing numbers at very opposite ends of the scale, car 1 and car 999. But at the moment, it looks like Freitas has turned it up to 999. He's all over him. A little bit further back, Anders Lillejean.
Blue lighting it.
Sorry?
He's blue lighting it.
He is.
999.
He's skipping all the red lights. Got a nice little train going on here. Jessica Myers has gained 10 places so far. Really good start for Jessica, considering that she didn't qualify. Just on the back of Ashley Gaffall now. Looking down the inside, even into the chicane. Ashley goes defensive. Oh, close stuff there. It's hard to get it stopped for that chicane as well. So if you're going for a move, you really need to be committed. Freitas has done the fastest lap of the race. But just inside the top 10, we've got this going on. Keanu Bourguignon and Mark Woodhouse. These two have both gained 3 places each after cars that have fallen off ahead of them. Staying line astern at the moment. Woodhouse is another one, isn't he, where he's always been quick, but he's just not quite broken through to the very front of the field. I remember in the media day, he was the fastest driver by a long shot, but he ran out of fuel, and that's literally what stopped him from winning the first ever race in the championship.
Yeah, of course he had a good run early on in the Simracersworld Winter TCR Series as well, so we know that he can do it, a bit like Miguel Freitas in that sense. Has race winning pace on his day. It's the thing is that Corentin Guinness just seems that's his standard autopilot, isn't he? He's able to just do it over and over again. Now Ryan Walker, who put a bomb underneath that curb?
Yeah, that was a very strange one. He wants to just get that stopped and get it out of the way, which he does so. But we know about this. This was an issue in a previous season, last season in fact. They didn't run at Zolder because there was an update to this car. And there is a bit of a glitch where when the car has a really low setup on it with a very low ground clearance, which it has anyway, Nels de Kuiper has gone way too hot into the hairpin. When you do have that really low ground clearance in this car and you hit the curbs, it basically jolts the car into the air. And I mean, it used to chuck them in the air, literally throw them in the air very, very suddenly. As that was Ben Hicks off the circuit just there. So Nels de Kuiper went off, but around the same time, Ben Hicks has pulled over, and I think he's actually completely come to a stop, you know.
How strange. And is he going to...
Oh, I think he's a lap down, so I think he's just staying out of everybody's way and just made a good call there to go across the inside of the chicane rather than be on the racing line. So fair enough to him. I mean, he's still circulating. He's still out there in 25th place, 8th in class, but he's the last car that is still running in the race. But either way, he's just trying to get championship points, and that's the thing. You need the commitment to finish the races, don't you, and at least get those points on the board, because they're all important.
Indeed, never give up. You never know what can happen. You could have 5 cars wipe each other out on the last corner and all quit, and you come through and pick up the points. That's what it's about. You never know when you might need it. I mean, how many, well, we know, of course, you and I both love touring cars, Chaz. How many times have we seen the British Touring Car Championship after goodness knows how many races they have in a season, and it goes down to the 1 point on the last day, on the last race in the rain at Brands Hatch.
Indeed. It's been, I mean, Brands Hatch is one of the most dramatic venues for it as well, and, you know, with the weather being so unpredictable at that time of year, it's just incredible. It really is, and I do hope that it continues to finish at Brands for many years to come. It's an awesome circuit.
Yeah.
Awesome circuit indeed. Great place.
And you're always going to get the best crowd at Brands Hatch, of course, with its proximity to London. It's in a good place in the country as well to get, because you really, if you want a big crowd for the atmosphere. I would say.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I've been to many a race meeting at Brands Hatch now, and you know, I've even been to track days when it's empty, and you know, even then, from just the paddock alone, you get a great buzz from it. I've been to club race meetings there with MSVR and Sports 2000, commentating on that last year. Even Ford Power Live, which Sports 2000 were at, they run Duratec engines, so they were at Ford Power Live, and you know, they, even compared to the BTCC where you do get those big crowds, Brands just draws this atmosphere, but nothing can compare to it when there's a huge crowd there. And that was close from Boakler, wasn't it? That just skimmed through the back of Fraser Smith's car there, if anything.
Yeah, it was really going right to the very limit of where you want to go, because sometimes you can get a little bit of ghost contact with the. It's almost millimeter perfect, but sometimes you do get little blips in the internet and stuff like that. You just have to give that little bit of extra, room. And whoa, there's did you see that tire just go straight across the screen? Whose tire was that?
Yeah, I've not a clue. What has happened? Nobody's had an accident or anything.
Mine needing to go to the opticians tomorrow.
I'm sure there was. I saw something blink, but no one's had an accident or anything, so I'm really not sure what's happened there. I'm wondering whether there might have been some sort of new damage model issue or something. Because we had another race that I saw recently that had been broadcast, and a piece of a car just popped off. Literally just popped off the front of it and flew across the screen and then popped back on, as it does. But maybe an instance of that. But yeah, I saw something blink. But yeah, that's an odd moment to say the least. In terms of class leaders, we've got Brown class leading consistency and Jürgen Knockaert leading academy, and they're actually right together on track. Jürgen is going to gain a lot of points here on Niles de Kuiper, and that for him is going to be very important for the championship, because Jürgen's down 111 points from the leader, so he needs to gain them where he can. He's not quite going to get 60. Oh no, Fraser Smith. Oh, that says contact to me. Either that, or he's potentially put a wheel on the grass on the way in. What do you reckon?
That's maybe what. Oh dear.
That's called being dispatched of, I think.
Or as they say in the oh my. That there's obviously, I think there's maybe something that's happened a couple of corners before. I just get that impression by Vogler sort of weaving back and forward, I wonder. Hard, maybe a little bit further back, I don't know, but well, yeah, because Vogler's been very overly aggressive there, and then just leans under brakes, and I think they call that in the NASCAR world getting dumped.
Yes, indeed they do, mate. That's getting done. And whoa, that's dumping yourself there by Paul Godden. The back end of the car just braking out slightly under brakes. But I mean, Boakler's up to third, but I'm sure, you know, we know what Roman's like. He won't be pleased to have done it that way. You know, these guys don't want to make contact. They just want the close racing, but contact often comes with it. Fraser Smith still inside the top 10. Don't forget, we've got 2 races already, and then we have a reverse grid race after a 10-minute warm-up session. So the top 12 get reversed. So Knockout wants to finish where he is in the second race to make sure that he can do what we saw a few times already actually in this championship, where you'd get a consistency or academy class driver starting on pole position and gaining a hell of a lot of points out of a race at the end of the night, because some of them have the pace to stay up there, don't they?
That they do, yeah, exactly. And a lot of the time it's just the track position they've been craving, and we see drivers come out with pace that we didn't quite realise was there. So yeah, that's the great thing about having that reverse grid or a partial reverse grid in race 3. So 12 minutes down, nearly 13 minutes down, 7 minutes to go. Guina is still in control, as it would appear, but Bokler, you can tell Bokler, he's really on the charge. I think maybe Freitas has got a more worry about Bokler on the charge back to the front rather than trying to catch Guinness.
Yeah, I think that some of these battles a little bit further back, they're not in any sort of, they're not going to be any threat to the guys at the front, but they always have to keep an eye on the few battles that are behind us. Oh, not really much room there left by Anders Lejorde. Bram Class says, excuse me, no. Michael Blake is now the top of that class, so I'm wondering what's happened to Bram here. Two of them, Jürgen Knockout overtook him. Oh, Bram's had an off. He's had a big off there. What's happened to Bram? Oh, there's that glitch again. To be fair, though, he styles it out nicely with a little 360, but it's costing positions, and you can sort of understand his frustration there, maybe, that came into effect with contact with Anders Lejorde.
Well, you've got to think that maybe the drivers have got to try and get that word out quickly to say just watch for that curb, because it seems if you take a little bit too much of the curb on the left-hand side, that it's almost like there is a pogo stick underneath there, that if you go over it, it's almost like a trap in a mini golf game. You just don't want to go over it. So we'll see. It would be good if the drivers could, whoa, geez, have a bit of that. Gee whiz, Anton Dupin, he said, this is my home race, out the way, old boy.
Yeah, indeed. Mark Woodhouse now all over the back of him. And look at that.
Says, well, I'm Woodhouse in the woods.
Yeah, indeed. I think it was Bourguignon actually made the contact with. Dupin's gone through, and he's just like, oh, cheers, boys. You know, I love that. And he's cleared off now. But yeah, I'm not sure on that one. I think maybe it's easy to squeeze people around that right-hander because it's so easy to understeer wide that you have this consciousness of, oh, I really need to get to that apex. And I think maybe Mark just didn't leave as much room as he should have done there, but he got away with it, and that's the nature of these cars. You know, you can have contact like that and still survive it, quite luckily, but it's cost him a place. I mean, Bourguignon just went right through and had them off. And, sorry, it was Dupin, wasn't it? Dupin just, yeah, thanks very much, boys, I'll have that. 1 place gain from where he started, though, so on aggregate, not the best race for him. Porsche Sport in the chat, how many Porsches? Just the one today, my friend, and it is the pace car. However, plenty of wonderful other branded German engineering out on circuit. So many Bluetooth headsets were harmed in the making of this episode.
Well, you remember, of course, as you rightly said, Chaz, that getting these Audi RS3 TCRs off the line is quite strange. It's quite a strange process, for lack of a better description, where you've got to the car will only give you so many revs, and it kind of goes like, and then off you go. And
sounds like a salesman.
I tell you what, well, yeah, would you like to buy a photocopy?
I meant an Audi salesman.
Yeah.
Well, you may as well buy a photocopy.
PCP.
Final down payment.
Yeah, 0% finance. Sign your life off. But I tell you what, they're not even building half the revs that an Audi 1.6 TDI is going to have at every single traffic light it's ever stopped at.
Oh, I know, yeah. And they've even got a pop and bang map by their mate Damo as well that puts it to 180 brake. You know, it's an eco map, as they tell the police when they get pulled over. Either way, we've got...
Puts a hole in the turbocharger.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's why it whistles funny. But we've got this brilliant train at the moment of these 5 cars all together in shot. Look at that. So many different combinations of red, yellow, black, gold, and some very bright orange in there in the form of Matthias Tetige's Simracersworld esports car. but warm colours definitely on the palette here. Now we've got 2 British drivers, Matthew Crisp at the front of it, Mark Woodhouse 4th, and then 3 Belgian drivers, Matthias Detij, Anton Dupin and Keanu Bourguignon. Brilliant, brilliant shot though. Loving this. How close these guys follow one another. And this is just testament, isn't it, Peter, to how well they've got to know each other through running this series time and time again. You know, they've got the confidence to follow each other and the trust in each driver around them to follow like this. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing, isn't it? This is why sim racing is so fantastic. They can have racing like this and it mirrors what you can see in the real world.
Indeed, yeah, that's absolutely true. And I think when you, of course, in sim racing, oh dear,
oh,
did well to hang on to that there, did Mark Woodhouse.
Fraser's in the party now. Sorry, go on.
Yes. We'll gloss over that one. Gee whiz, I mean, yeah, that's the thing with sim racing is you've got such a wonderful choice, especially on the iRacing platform. You've got a wonderful choice of cars to choose from. You can go GT racing, prototypes, single seaters, you name it. There's a car for you. But each type of racing has a certain style, of course. And touring cars is crash bang wallop, punch the guy in the nose. So you do need to be comfortable with running bumper to bumper effectively, because that's kind of how touring cars works. That's the way it is, I suppose.
And it's great that we can replicate that so well in the sim racing world as well. You know, we've got such amazing close racing, and it never disappoints us. You know, we love covering this championship just because of how close the racing is. All the drivers do an incredible job. Matthew Crisp is doing an incredible job at the moment holding these guys off. Jumps over the curb. You can even see the scrape on the right hand side where the door has sort of crumpled up a little bit as a result of that curb being smacked so aggressively. Now we've only got 40 seconds of the race left to go, and I'm pretty sure that Corentin Guinez is going to finish this lap and start a new one, which will be the final lap of the race. But he's not really lost Miguel Freitas over the course of this race, has he? He's still there in the wings.
Indeed, that's absolutely right. Yeah, but he's not let him go. And the thing is, that's Miguel Freitas is probably absolutely chewing the top of the steering wheel and driving as fast as he possibly can. But he is just waiting, trying, hoping for any kind of mistake for Corentin Guinez. But the likelihood is he's not going to get one, because Corentin is just so accurate, just does not make mistakes once he's out front. The thing is, if you get Corentin Guinez in a battle, then you've got a chance. But if you let him have any clean laps at all, it is very unlikely that you'll be able to get on case with him. So, but Miguel Freitas, this is I think the best drive we've seen all season. Really running identical pace to Corentin, but of course needs to run better pace to get by him. Now, somebody I want to give a shout out to is Jess Myers, who's just put in her fastest lap of the race. Of course, started at the back of the pack and currently sitting second in class. And Michael Blake only about 10 car lengths up the road. So Jess, on the last lap, it's kind of looking like could finish second, possibly third in class, starting from the back of the pack. Not bad at all.
No, indeed, it's been an awesome performance. And I mean, even Michael Blake as well, he's gained 8 positions to move up to 12th, and he now leads the class as well. So the pair of them doing a great job. Lily Jourdain as well in third, just behind Jess Myers, gained 5 spots from where he started. So honestly, these consistency drivers, they're certainly living up to the name of the class and working for it. But at the front of the field then, into the chicane for the final time, there's only 3/10 in it as well. Freitas for the last 2 laps has been 3/10 of a lap quicker than Guinez, but it's not going to stop him taking a win in round 21 of the Simracersworld TCR Series. He had to work for that one. Great stuff from Miguel Freitas to finish second. Boakler and Leitner third and fourth. Boakler will not be pleased with the contact earlier. I'm sure Fraser Smith won't be either, but it's a shame to have happened. Oh, Argy Bargy in the background. Anton Dupin and Mark Woodhouse side by side over the line. That was very, very lively stuff there. As Jürgen Knockaert has gone off the circuit. Michael Blake's just overtaken him at the flag. Manages to win his class. Jessica Myers second. Lily Jourdain third. Niles de Kuiper is going to be second in the academy class, but he's lost a number of positions in terms of, well, a number of points to Jürgen Knockaert. But that just closes the gap up. Danny Fenning finishing third. But Corentin Guin has another win for his tally, and it looks like a sort of presidential escort right now for Miguel Freitas.
That it does, yes. A pretty fast presidential escort. That's the escort you want if you want to get places quickly. Well, I suppose a Ford Escort RS Cosworth would also be another type of fast escort.
That's true. I always do recall, actually, I was watching I was actually commentating on... Hello. Okay, Roman. I was commentating on a GT broadcast not too long ago on another broadcasting network where we were at Monza. And the pretty well-known team Pure Sims on iRacing have, I think, 11, 12 cars in the series, but divided into 4 teams of 3. And 4 of their Audi R8s were swarming poor Michael Blake in his M4 GT3, one on each corner of his car down the circuit at Monza, down the main straight towards Turn 1. And that was honestly the fastest presidential escort I've ever seen, and it was absolutely hilarious. I will have to I'll have to dig that footage out later and show you. Either way, this is your race 2 grid, and it's certainly going to fill up very, very fast. So you can have a quick read of it yourself, but based on that performance then, I mean, you said look out for Freitas in that first race, Peter, and he certainly showed that he's got the pace here tonight. Do you reckon he can win this one?
Well, I think it's all about getting down there to turn 1 and trying to put some pressure on Guinez, trying to get him under the cosh early and not let him get into that rhythm. Let's see. Indeed,
we will. So, round 22 of the Simracersworld TCR Series from Zolder is away. Looks like a good start from Roman Beauclerc. Manages to get alongside Miguel Freitas. Now Miguel has got those 3 HM Engineering cars to think about, and down the inside indeed goes Beauclerc, takes second place. So car 2, NE2, get your words out. Car 22, P2. Jessica Myers has taken the lead in the consistency class already. Oh, Bram class is sideways. That's big for the championship. Needs to be careful in coming back on. You can see Damien Harris making places up already. He's gained 5, 6 spots already, Damien Harris. The man's on a mission here. We'll go on board with him and just see what the mayhem looks like from the driver's eye view down to the chicane. Miguel Freitas went off there. That was the reason for all the dust. Let's see what happens here then. At the Kleiner chicane. Look at that. It's like a big snake of Bluetooth-powered Audi machinery, but it looks brilliant going through there, isn't it?
Yeah, fantastic. It just great getting a look on board there from Damien Harris, because you saw there's like kind of almost sausage kerbs, which I despise, but sausage kerbs which almost act like a bit of a ramp. I wonder if the drivers who have ended up in the air, I'm not sure if it's a glitch at all. I think it's the sausage kerbs, and if you hit them straight on, you're going into the air.
Yeah, maybe the splitter digging in or something, but we've got HM Engineering 1, 2, 3 here. Now they're all ahead of Miguel Freitas. Norbert Leitner has moved up into 3rd position. Fraser Smith, the biggest mover inside the top 10. What's Corentin doing here? He's sort of signalling to the boys. Not quite sure what that is. Look at that shot there down the straight.
12 ringed escort.
Have indeed. Love that shot down there then. I set these cameras up just earlier and I didn't realise it was going to give us such a nice shot down there. Either way, it looks great. Across the line we go again.
You say so yourself.
Yeah. I did honestly.
Come see how good I look.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so good at this, it's just unfair.
Oh, Woodhouse has been tapped again by Bourguignon. That's the 2nd time in 2 races. Myers wants a piece of this as well. Down the inside, Woodhouse is on the apex. Bourguignon's the one that doesn't leave the room this time. Proper touring car stuff between these pair. Myers trying to sneak through down the inside. Says, well, Keanu, if you don't want it, I'll take that. Thank you. Keanu says, I do want it. Have a bit of that rear arch. Oh, there's the contact, and this is going to be big. In front of the field, there's an Ignium car in there. They all need to be very careful. The Ignium car needs to get on the brakes. Oh, he's been clouted. Oh, he's been absolutely clouted. There's a huge, huge accident. Oh, that's a big one. I'm going to try and call a pace car for that, which I obviously cannot do because I'm not an admin. We would normally have responsibility to do that, but that was an almighty, almighty accident. And again, I mean, I've commented before that, you know, Jessica Myers gets involved in incidents, but we'll have to look whether that was Jessica not leaving the room or Keanu Bourguignon turning right. But either way, we've lost a number of cars from the race. We've got 8 of them in the pit lane now as a result of that. That was horrible to see. Really, really horrible to see.
Well, I hope none of those drivers are using a VR headset, because that would, oh, you'd end up.
Bit of netcode involved in it, in fairness, but there wasn't there wasn't a car's width on the left-hand side. It's the Ignium car then that makes the track block. Oh, that's just a savage hit. And oh, who was that there? Someone else did not. Oh, that's just. There's not much you can say about, you know, if there's a car in the middle of the road. I was actually told earlier tonight that the smoke in iRacing has got so much thicker you can't see anything through it when you go into an incident. But there were some drivers there that just weren't slowing down, and you know you're sort of asking for it there. You're going to get involved in a crash if you're not slowing down for one. You know what I mean? So you take your fate into your own hands there, unfortunately. But the initial contact,
And there would have been a yellow.
Yeah, definitely. But there just wasn't a car's width on the left, unfortunately. You know, it's hard to stop these cars understeering. They are the kings of understeer. But unfortunately, Jessica just understeered wide to the edge of the circuit. There wasn't anywhere else for Bourguignon to go. He was still very much alongside. And the two of them just stuck together. That's one thing we see from these cars quite a lot, isn't it? They stick together until they hit something.
Yeah, I think there is. I would say that if you compare, this is quite a similar form of racing to the Mazda MX-5, which of course you're quite familiar with, Chaz. And I think the Mazdas take the contact so much better than these cars do, which for a touring car is not ideal. So you've kind of, but that's just the way it is. You're going to have to take that in mind, because that was a very light contact and it had dramatic circumstances. Of course, two cars stuck together, charging into the wall from the lightest of contact. It's hard to blame that on anyone, really. I'll be honest, but that's really gutting, because obviously it took a lot of cars with them as well. So, well, that will change things, and that's got various championship implications, because of course Jess was on a real charge in the consistency class from the back of the field in race 1, up there fighting for the lead in race 2, and now back, but actually now still in the top 20 and still second in class after a fast repair.
It's a bit crazy, isn't it? Fourth in class, though, unfortunately.
Of course, so my apologies, not showing up on my timing screen.
Lillejorde and Hicks second and third in that one, but yeah, like you say, that now they're all back out, but we've actually got the race leaders just here behind this lot. So this leading train is bearing down on them. 3 HM Engineering cars. Roman Bokler, as you can see, leading the race now from Corentin Guinez. He's very much safely the filling in the sandwich at the moment, with Norbert Leitner just behind. Freitas fourth. Doesn't look like he's doing too much to make any forward progress at the moment. Anton Dupin behind Fraser Smith. Damien Harris is getting 11 spots up to 10th now. He survived ahead of that accident, I believe, at the time. Although, no, he would have been behind it all, so he would have got a view of exactly what went on there and would have seen every little bit of it, which I imagine was a hell of a view. So he's actually just behind it, so they would have gone off just there. There they are. Off they go. He only just gets away with that.
As well.
Goodness me. That's the margins that we're dealing with in stuff like this, isn't it? Between being out of the race, being down outside the top 20, or making it through by the skin of your teeth and being in a very strong position, especially considering the reverse grid.
Oh, I mean, he did really, really well there, to Damien Harris, to avoid the incident, and of course, because Jess and now forgive me, who was else in the accident? My apologies. Yes, came back onto the circuit, and the way they bounced back off the wall, it happened so quickly that Damien did very, very well to get through there, and on the grass, where there's no room between the grass and the edge of the wall, and managed to just not panic and get the car back onto the blacktop. Very, very good reactions there. And it's quite sad as well, because you saw the poor corgi on the back of Jess's car just spinning round and going, ah!
Yeah, indeed. I imagine its tongue would be flapping a lot in the wind. Hell of a hit, though. Really was a hell of a hit. But either way, we'll have I'm just trying to see who else was it that got involved. I think it might have been Ashley Gaffall. There was the next car in it. So the two of them get together. Ashley is just going along doing his thing. We'll go to the chopper cam. Yeah, Ashley's going to be the car that gets hit. So Damien makes it through. Ashley does react and starts going over to the right. He hits Bourguignon's car very hard. Hits the Corgi Mobile as well. And then I imagine he's trying to get it stopped here. I'm not sure whether he's let go of the wheel, but, I mean, to me, the brake lights aren't on. And then he just taps the back. I think that was Niles de Kuiper that he hit. There's the tiniest touch there. And then the Sim Stickers car, that is Paul Godden. No, it's Daniele Giudici, sorry. And Lee Bowden. They just absolutely fly in and smack into them. I'm not sure if anybody else made contact as well. I think there was another car. Was it Bram Class came steaming in as well, didn't he? Hit Giudici's wheel into the barrier, lost it. You can see the other guys are all braking, but Bram only brakes there. And then you've got Bowden and Giudici together. Misses that. How he got through there, he did hit Bowden, and smack into Gaffol. Gaffol had such a nasty ride out of all of that, didn't he? That was a real horrible one, but it's I mean, if you look from here, I'm not trying to get people in trouble. I'm just trying to pick it apart from what they can see and show you that the smoke is so thick. You can see it here, Lee Bowden, there's all the smoke, but, you know, it's still flat. It's just, I mean, you know, I'm not here to get people in trouble, but you can't look away from that. You know, I don't know what they can do to justify the fact they're still flat into an incident like that. You know what I mean? Sorry, everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Yep, absolutely. If the yellow flag would be out, yellow flag, you should always, for everybody's good, for your own good and for everybody's good, lift off and be prepared to stop or be prepared to avoid an incident, and means that something's happened.
Yeah, indeed.
And well, there was cars strewn all over the track, and like you said, still flat out. So, one to learn from.
Yes.
Should we leave it like that?
Yeah. We'll leave that there, everybody. Either way, we've just hit the halfway point in the race. Roman Bopla still leads the way, but he's got cars in front of him, so you wouldn't think he was in the lead of the race. But either way, he's got Greenez behind, a little bit sideways there through turn one from Greenez. And look at that, Damien Harris. He's on a proper charge. I mean, I said it straight away, didn't I? After, 3 corners, he gained 6 places. Damien Harris has been flying in this one. So has Mats Borg Anderson. He got absolutely nailed in that first race. And he's managed to come back up, and he's gained 12 places in this one. He's flying.
He is indeed. It's the gold wheels in the Volvo S40 Ricard Riedel throwback livery that's doing it, I think, Chaz.
Must be, mate. Must be.
Must
Good
be.
old
Has to be.
retro liveries, eh?
And he is Scandinavian, so...
He is, actually, yeah. So he'll be a bit of Solberg, would you say?
Yeah, definitely have a bit of that. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm a big World Rally fan. Solberg Jr. Oh my word, Oliver
what a
Solberg,
superstar!
Gee whiz.
his run up the Goodwood Hill in the Citroen with David Addison and Jack Nicholls commentating on it was just one of the most exciting bits of motorsport I have ever watched. He's just an absolute legend.
I tell you what, he did a great job there on the Arctic Rally in Finland. 19 years old, never competed in a World Rally car before. These things are nuts as well. 400 horsepower, huge aero, spiked tyres, so the speeds are massive.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he had this thing sideways, like proper Colin McRae-esque sideways, because it's not necessarily well, in the textbook it's not necessarily the fastest way, but he was right up there on speed, and maybe I tell you what, he could bring a whole new style to World Rally, and just that absolute maximum attack car, absolute broadside sideways, and he could be the next McRae.
Yeah, indeed, definitely could be. And I distinctly remember as well. he actually swore live on air at Goodwood when he was talking about how he made a mess of the first corner, let's say. But just as it was typical, wasn't it? Like there's always that little moment between two commentators where one stops talking and then the other starts, and it's literally that tiny bit of fresh air between David handing over to Jack, and the swear word fit right between them, right in the gap. Bless him for Mr. Solberg. But either way, very entertaining all the way. But we've got a very entertaining race going on, because inside this top 5 or even top 6. There's still cars all over the shop here. Dettige is wanting to get past Jessica Myers as quickly as possible, not to lose time to Miguel Freitas. But Freitas wants to get past Leitner as well. And I mean, to be fair, I kind of feel sorry for the lap traffic around here, because it's not an easy circuit to overtake, but it's also not an easy circuit to let people past either. I mean, we saw the example of Ben Hicks before, didn't we? Had to just stop and go on a completely different circuit.
Well, especially because if you've got to let one car through, you've got to let 4 or 5. Because you look at this, you've got this massive Shinkansen express train of Audi RS3s. It is that we do use. We've worn out the outside lane of the M6 motorway. We've worn that one out well, but it's true. It's a stereotype because it's true.
It is. Definitely is. Now here's a battle. Obviously, Naveed Hussein, that's a very second-hand car. He's trying to hold off Mats Borg Anderson, but can't do anything about it at the moment.
It's Arnold Clark trade-in bin, that one.
Yeah, definitely. Really is. I wonder what the APR is like on that.
13.2
a week. But either way, Naveed is.
But you're £500 for floor mats.
Oh yeah, each.
For £300 to have them moosed. That's protective mousse. That keeps the mats in good condition.
Correct, protect, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just put that down for you. Yeah, good choice.
Thank
good choice
you,
that you just made.
Oh, that's for each, by the way. So that's 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine that 800 quid a floor
One
mat.
for the boot. One for the boot.
Yeah, we've got special lining for the parcel shelf. Keeps the many parcels. I mean, actually, you know what? I asked my partner this earlier. I know we've gone off on a tangent again, everybody, but honestly, the stereotypes of the British highways will be done soon. I asked my partner this today. How many cars have you ever seen with actual parcels on the parcel shelf?
It's probably the worst place ever you could put a parcel.
Yeah, right in your line of sight. That's why
I
you
think
just
the idea
put
is
it in the boot.
Well, I think that's the whole point of a parcel shelf, is that you can't see the parcel in the boot.
Ah, right, okay. But to me, a shelf is something you put something on.
The only reason for having a parcel shelf is to put 6x9 speakers into.
Yes, which I did in my Fiat Seicento Sport.
As did I.
Yes, love it. Right then, we've got a battle on our hands here. Norbert Leitner and Miguel Freitas. Thank God they've broken up that. Miguel Freitas down the inside of Norbert Leitner. But we know how much speed you can carry around the outside there. Norbert is showing us just that right now. And he's done a great job of it. Miguel's stuck right under the exhaust of that car. A little pop and bang on the overrun down towards the Kleiner chicane once again. What can Miguel do here to close on that very pretty HM Engineering machine? HM Engineering, a very, very talented bunch of drivers, not just in iRacing, but across many other sims all over the world as well. They've actually, as well, something you'll like, Peter, they've actually recently done... Oh no, Damien Harris is around! We'll come back to that in a minute. But Damien and Anton Dupin... Oh, Anton just hit the curb and it bounced him into him. That's such a shame for Damien after the drive he'd had as well. But it's very tough to overtake there, isn't it? We've seen it before. It's not the last time we're going to get contact there, is it?
No, you are taking a risk through there. I mean, that's what makes the Klein chicane so frustrating, because there's a decent braking zone and you think you can fit through there, and not quite. It's tough. It's really, really tough. And Damien, of course, has been on the charge all night. He's kind of been on the rebound all night, but where he is right now, that'll put him in reverse grid pole, won't it?
Yeah, very true. You can be happy with.
You'll get the BTTC bag of 10 reverse grid.
God, didn't say bag of balls.
A bag of number 10.
Although no, you're getting a knockout will be on pole. It's 12. Isn't it?
Are we a 12 reverse grid? My apologies.
I did the same last time though. Remember, I thought it was 10, and then it was like, oh, hang on.
Well, then that truly is a British touring car one. That's oh, and it's a 12 again.
Yeah. Oh, where did Colin Turkington finish? Oh yeah. Oh, look, 8. Oh, that's funny. That was
who's in the steward's room? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's it. Oh, you what, mate? That took me a second to click then. But,
who's in the bus?
Either way. There's a conspiracy for you, but I'm not going to do that one. Miguel Freitas still on the back of Norbert Leitner. It's so close as well. We have to go on board, not on the nose cam, because we'll end up in the exhaust of that HM Engineering car. But how do these HM Engineering boys do this week in, week out, Peter? They always manage to get to the top of the pile.
Well, as they say, the cream rises to the top. They've got such strong drivers. Of course, Roman Bokler with real-world experience as well. Aha! Now, of course, Bokler into the lead as well. Guina is playing second fiddle too.
Yes, indeed. We've still not looked back at the move for that, but either way, Buckler's happy with it. Oh, Amiga late on the brakes. Sunshine. He's chucking everything at this right now. Norbert Leitner, though, puts the car where he needs to. I've heard of second gunner, rear gunner, but he's definitely rear gunner at the moment. You've also got the B17 style middle gunner of Corentin Guinez. Anyone that knows what a B17 is will know that joke. But Detige is just...
Flying Fortress.
Yes, indeed. Wonderful aircraft. There's one that flies over here called Sally B.
There's one for you, Chaz. What does Snetterton and Sebring have in common, apart from being former airfields?
Didn't they both... weren't they home to Flying Fortresses?
Correct.
They were. B-17s are just... It's one of those planes that looks sort of passive but still angry at the same time. It's a very strange one, but great bit of kit. Either way...
Is there a band called the B-17s that sang Love Shack?
I think it is. Oh, no. Oh.
B something.
Or is it the B-52s?
B-52 is correct. You're absolutely
Yes.
right. It is, yeah.
The Strato Fortress as well, not the Flying Fortress. Although... we'll very quickly move away from aircraft.
I've sent you down a rabbit hole.
Oh, it's a massive rabbit hole. I'm a humongous aviation nut. But the B-52 Strato Fortress is going to be the first aircraft in history to be in service for 100 years. It's going to be in active military service until 2052, apparently. The B-52. Unbelievable. And it'll bomb the living hell out of everything. Anyway, Roman Bokler. He's not bombing anything at the moment other than trying to bomb it away from Corentin Guinez, but the two of them have really made their mark so far on this championship. They have been almost unstoppable, you could say. They're top of the pile coming into this race meeting, 30 points between the two of them. Damien Harris third in the championship, Norbert Leitner fourth in the championship. He was 19 points behind Damien. And I think after this race meeting, so far anyway, he will have gained more on top of that, so it could even be a HM Engineering 1, 2, 3 in the championship. This is Mark Woodhouse chasing down Damien's teammate, Matthew Crisp. Still trying to put pressure on him, but we're on to the final lap again, Peter. And there's just been so much going on. There's even more going on now. Lee Bowden and Keanu Bourguignon both off the circuit. Something's gone on here. That's foul play, isn't it?
Well, we'll see. Oh, a little bit of a tap there, and gets into a wiggle, and round he goes. Oh, and that will bow that chassis.
Well, that'll give it a bow, Den.
That was better.
Matthew Crisp now into defense. Oh, boy, it's Freitas. Wow. Not Freitas, Fraser Smith. What great avoidance. Oh,
oh, no.
Oh, has that broken the right rear?
Yeah, it has.
It's frozen still. Is it going to pop back into life? We've seen that the new damage model does do it. No, it's still locked. I really hope Fraser knows that, because it's going to go around, and there it goes. Oh, that's so unlucky from Fraser Smith. We'll come back and have a quick look at it. But really, really unfortunate there for Fraser. He'll be absolutely fuming with that one. There was a little move to the right, I think, on the brakes, but didn't need to happen. Either way, it's a HM Engineering 1, 2, 3. Bokler, Guinez, Leitner, Freitas fourth. Detige, good stuff in fifth. Mark Woodhouse, after another lively race, sixth. Seventh is Crisp. Damien Harris is letting Fraser Smith by. He's slowing down. I'm not sure whether he got a slow down penalty or is he letting people pass strategically for the reverse grid. Either way, Jürgen Knockaert is going to win the Academy class. Michael Blake, who we just saw crossing the line there, won the consistency class. Mats Borg Anderson, 14 places gained. Wow. That's fantastic stuff from him. Let's just have a look at this again. There wasn't a move to the right at all, apologies, but he was a bit more aimed to the apex than Matthew Crisp was, and it was the tiniest of touches, but you've got to feel for Fraser Smith. That tiny touch broke the right rear, and you can see it's still locked, so as soon as he turns left, it's like having a flat tyre, isn't it, Peter? It's just gone. That's such a shame, man.
And it's just not been his night, has it? Of course, sent into the kitty litter by Bokler in race 1. Nothing he could have done there at all, could Fraser Smith. Well, he won't even get a good kind of reverse grid spot either. He's got big work to do, and that's his that's any kind of hope of a championship run kind of over now for Fraser, which is a pity.
It really is. And, you know, we've seen amazing pace from Fraser all season. He's been so exciting to watch, but it's such a shame that that has not gone his way there. We do obviously hope that it does get better over the course of the season for him. Here is your result then of the first race of the night. Corentin Guinness took the win in that one from Miguel Freitas and Roman Bokler, with Norbert Leitner and Matthew Crisp behind. They have Matthias Statij and Anton Dupin for company, with Mark Woodhouse side by side with Dupin across the line. Fraser Smith finished 9th ahead of Keanu Bourguignon, rounding out your 10. Michael Blake won the consistency class ahead of Jürgen Knockhart. I think they both did the same in race 2 as well, actually. Jessica Myers second in class, 13th overall, ahead of Anders Lille-Jourdain and Ashley Gaffal, with Bram Klaas, Niles de Kuiper and Daddy Fenning. Paul Godden and Craig Schill then rounding out your top 20. Damien Harris finished a minute and a half down in 21st place, ahead of Naveed Hussain. Daniele Giudici and Ben Hicks were 1 lap down. Lee Bowden 6 laps down. 10 laps down was Ryan Walker, with Mats Borg Anderson and Jean-Louis Deschamps unfortunately sitting out this evening. But Peter, if you could take us through the second race results, mate, that would be absolutely wonderful.
With pleasure. I can take you through 11th down if you like. There we go. Roman Bokler leading the HM Engineering Armada, with Corentin Guinness and Norbert Leitner joining him on a podium lockout of what has been a fantastic season for HM Engineering. Miguel Freitas next along in 4th. It's been a strong day so far at Zolder for the Portuguese. Matthias Statij was 5th, followed by Mark Woodhouse, Matthew Crisp, Anton Dupin, Michael Blake and Damien Harris rounding out the top 10. Jürgen Knockhart was 11th, followed by Anders Lille-Jourdain, Mats Borg Anderson, Paul Godden, Craig Schill, Ryan Walker, Naveed Hussain, Ben Hicks, Fraser Smith all the way back in 19th after that incident, and Jess Myers rounding out the top 20. Daniele Giudici was 21st, followed by Niels de Kuiper, Lee Bowden, Danny Fenning, Keanu Bourguignon, Bram Klaas, Ashley Gaffal and Jean-Louis Deschamps rounding out our 28 runners here at Zolder in our second race, and one more to go, Chaz.
Yes, indeed. We have the reverse grid race that will finish our evening. It's currently just the warm-up session, but we actually have no cars out on track by the look of it at the minute. Everybody just taking a moment's shot. Well, actually, no. Craig Schill is out on track, getting a little bit more practice in. Craig's been a real star, to be fair. You know, he's so committed to this championship. He's absolutely loving it. And, you know, he's a developing driver that's constantly putting the time in to make sure he gets better. Speaking of putting the time in, Peter and I are just going to take a quick break and make sure we are still hydrated and have ice cream for the final race. But we'll just be back in a few minutes' time, everybody, so bear with us, and we'll be very, very quickly ready for the final race.
It's black and white. It's black and white.
Hello again, everybody. Chaz, Draycott and Peter MacKay here on Simracersworld TV for the Simracersworld TCR Series. And we've had a very, very interesting night, Peter. Plenty of incidents, one very, very large incident, but some great drives through the field from some of these drivers tonight. It's not the easiest of circuits to overtake at, but some of them are proving that wrong.
That they have, yeah, absolutely. It's been a tale of kind of two halves. Some drivers have had a blinding meeting. For example, MacKay Freitas, it's been great to see him up there fighting for the podium in every race. And poor old Fraser Smith, well, if he didn't have bad luck tonight, he'd have no luck at all.
Yeah, indeed. It's one of those interesting circuits though that can sometimes bring out the best and worst in drivers, or you can see people that really shine through in somewhere like this and manage to survive everything, but then other times, you see other drivers struggle. It really is a circuit about precision, isn't it? And I mean, the precision class drivers are proving why they're named as such tonight. But I mean, you said about the curbs before as well. I agree in that, they sometimes, you could say they kill the racing. I've heard people say that about Zolder, where there are curbs that are a bit too much. But, you've got to stop people cutting it, but you would have thought that a slowdown penalty will do the same.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, I think that's these sausage curbs. I mean, I don't like them in the sim and I don't like them in real world. They're anti-safety in my view. They just don't work. We've seen so many. Do you remember that accident a couple of years ago? The guy at Parabolica, not Parabolica, it was Parabolica at Monza, and I think it was a Formula 3 car, and he hits the sausage curb, and he must have gone about 10 foot in the air.
Yeah, I think it was. Oh, I know the driver's name as well. Oh, it's not. It's left me. Anyway, we get to the final race of the evening then. Anders Lillejorde on pole position alongside Jürgen Knockaert. Damien Harris third, potential race winner there. Michael Blake, Anton Dupin and Matthew Crisp behind. Will fly through the grid again because it's going to go by very, very quickly and everybody's going to line up. But Jürgen Knockaert starting on the front row of the grid here, Peter. He's got to just stay far and far away from Paul Godden, who is 14th, the next academy driver on the grid. And he could get some major points back on everybody else here, couldn't he?
Indeed, yeah. If he can even move forward a couple of spots, but the main thing is keep it clean in the opening laps. And absolutely, of course, all the points are awarded out equal. So the further down the classes you are, the more you can ultimately gain. So let's see how they get on.
Let's see indeed. Anders Lillejorde will lead them away then from the line in round 23 of the Simracersworld TCR Series, which is underway. Damien Harris gets a storming start off the line. Look at that. See you in a bit. Determined and spurred on by the incidents in the previous races, he has gone straight to the front. Let's see how everybody else behaves themselves. We'll go to a cheeky chopper cam as well, just to see all this. Oh, argy-bargy from the HM Engineering cars.
To me.
Yep, to me. Definitely to me, to you, going on in there. Very feisty. Now this would be... Oh no, Jürgen Knockaert's gone off. He needs to be careful. There's cars sideways and around. That's Corentin Guinez. He's got a hit. It looks like he's got a bounty on his head as well by the look of it, not the chocolate bar. But either way, he manages to continue. Now everybody's going to try
big walk from Fraser Smith there.
Oh, that looked to me like there was going to be contact. No. Like you say, Fraser Smith trying to defend everything he can, but Damien Harris, well, see in a bit, he says. He's absolutely away, isn't he?
Indeed, this is a bit of a Damien Harris trademark in TCR racing here in the iRacing platform. Often if he's had a difficult night, if he gets onto that race 3 reverse grid front row, or even on the first 2 rows in the reverse grid on race 3, he's gone. And that is exactly what's happened here. Damien proving that he is one of the fastest guys in the championship, and it's going to be very, very difficult for the rest of the field to catch him. I mean, Boakler are now up to 10th, Leitner in 9th, but they've still got plenty of work to do. And Guinez all the way back in 16th place. Take a photograph of that. It doesn't happen often.
No, it doesn't. One thing I did want to pick up on is the fact that Jürgen Knockaert started second on the grid, and he's now only one position ahead of the next academy driver, Ryan Walker. who's gained 3 places off the start. So he's had an absolute nightmare of a first lap when it comes to the Academy Championship. We have also had some issues with Niles de Kuiper, Lee Bowden, Danny Fenning all going off a bit further down. This is Niles. Oh, he's made contact. He moved a little bit in the braking zone. Danny Fenning and Ashley Gaffall. Oh, Danny Fenning's got a damaged car. Bowden's driven into him. And then, oh, he's drilled Gaffall on the exit. Bowden's not really made much of an example of himself this evening, unfortunately. Oh, Walker's off big time. That is a huge amount of damage to Ryan Walker's car. And it was looking like such a promising race for him, Peter.
Yeah, it's just all kind of unfolded for Ryan Walker this evening. Let's have a look and see what happened to him. And, oh, getting in a punch-up with Corentin Guina is not wise. And, oh, yeah, there you go.
Oh, he was still flat out as well
hit.
In frustration, but there wasn't enough room for Guinez on the inside, unfortunately. I mean, you know, Ryan had the chance to give him the space to go through, but just squeezed him to the apex, and we do see a bit of that, don't we, here and there? Woohoo! Freitas playing it very dangerous with the wall there. We've got Ben Hicks off, or have we? No, sorry, Daniele Giudici was just off. This circuit, I tell you what, it really, really does make these drivers what's the word? Concentrate. It
does, yes. It demands a lot from the driver. I mean, can you imagine doing the 24 hours around here? Wow, it must be hard work. I mean, mind you, it's a real demand on the kind of mental side of things to be able to run long stints here at Zolder. The guys that do the Belcar 24-hour must really be up against it, but no more so than our overlord Ian Roots, who him getting to the end of 2 pints of Leffy has proved far more difficult. He's often asleep in a heap in the corner after 2 pints of Leffy. Hi Ian.
Hi Ian, how are you doing? Mark Woodhouse is currently 4th, trying to get past Anders Lillejorde. He's going to want to do it in the cleanest possible way, because Anders is now top of the consistency class. Michael Blake second in that, just behind. But look at this lot going on here. This is Norbert Leitner looking down the inside of Miguel Freitas. Freitas gives him the room. I just love how these drivers manage to then filter back into place around here. It's absolutely awesome, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and it just shows you how how they've really got that kind of perception of those around them to be able to do that at speed. And it's not easy in the sim. You don't have that same peripheral vision that you would in a real car. Some of the drivers will have very sophisticated setups with treble kind of wraparound screens, or some even VR headsets, which is even easier, but still not quite the same peripheral vision you have. So there is a little bit of guesswork, a little bit of experience involved as well. So yeah, being able to do that is quite impressive. So, well, Damien Harris, but yeah, he's in the groove now. 139.1. Anton Dupin matches him there on lap speed in second. So a good run so far here in race 3 for Anton, but Damien's checked out, it would appear. Yeah,
he's absolutely disappeared, hasn't he? Here comes the move from Mark Woodhouse. These two swapping places again and again over the first couple of corners. Mark wants to get away because he's got the likes of Crisp, Freitas, Leitner, Bokler, Detij and Hussein chasing him down. Navid's been a bit under the radar, in fairness. He had a big damage in that previous race, but he's managed to get back up there. He started 17th on the grid. He's now 11th. Fraser Smith has gained 6 places. Keanu Bourguignon has gained 8, up to 17th, but we've still got Guinez in 14th. Now he's right behind Fraser, trying to move forward. Now this has got contact written all over it, I'm afraid, with Corentin trying to push. He did apologise, and I apologise to him for being so blunt with my wording about him brake checking Miguel last week as well, which, you know, he said he's definitely, it's something he regrets doing. You know, he's better than that. He knows it as well, and you know, he was very, very sound about it, to be fair to him. So hats off, because, you know, he came to me and he said I really shouldn't have done that. You know, I'm sorry if that looked silly, and, you know, I apologise for how blunt I was about it. But these drivers know that I pull no punches. When if I see something I think is rubbish, I'm going to tell them.
When you've got your amateur steward hat on, oh, I know. Hell have no fury.
Indeed, mate, indeed. But, you know, that's part of the fun. This is a great little battle, though. Navid Hussein and Matthias Detij, two of the most exciting drivers that we've ever had on our screens, I'd say, Peter. head-to-head on a track like Zolder, this is going to be a very, very interesting fight. But that's if Detij can stay with him, because Hussein's flying.
Yeah, indeed he is. Yeah, absolutely. And the Detij, he's got to just give that little bit extra bit of room because he doesn't want to scratch his... oh! Well, maybe he's not bothered. Maybe you've got some new stickers in the post to him, Chaz, because he doesn't want to scratch his Chaslington stickers on his box arches there.
Yeah, I do need to get them to update those logos, actually. They're about a year old now. But either way, still repping the brand.
Who was that? Of the
Danny Fenning,
what, number 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, Danny Fenning just doing a bit of lawn mowing, a bit of groundskeeping. But after the earlier incident, he's a lap down. And again, it just shows how difficult it is to get out of the way when you're lap traffic around here. This is Matthew Crisp. Down the inside goes Roman Bokler, opens the door. Tiny touch on the way through, but thank you very much, he says. I'll have that. And now look at that. Leitner says, all right then, mate, if you're going to put him offline, cheers, I'll take that as well. Through he goes down the inside. Just slots in front. That's so, so close, boys. Well, we do see a lot of contact in this series, but flipping heck, is it a surprise? Naveed Hussein chucks it down the inside of Michael Blake. He goes through at the hairpin now. Such fantastic action in this midfield again, Peter. This is awesome.
It is. It's so tight, isn't it? And you've seen everyone kind of raise their level, of course, as the season progresses. Everyone gets more and more used to driving with one another. And of course, if you're in a long championship like this, the drivers will really focus a lot of time on this particular car as well. It demands such a different driving technique and style compared to, say, a GT car or single-seater. So, yeah, brilliant to see as we see Detij going back up the inside there of Michael Blake. Good move there at turn 1, and Fraser trying to go through. Fraser Smith in the number 4 car trying to go through Guinez on the charge back, but Guinez still stuck in 13th. He can't move forward at the same pace as Bokler and Leitner have done.
He'd be hoping to move fiercely forward as well, because don't forget his championship rival Damien Harris is away. But to be fair, Anton Dupin, he was half a second quicker on the last lap than Damien Harris was. So Anton is flying, and I mean, Anton knows this place like the back of his hand. He really does have an absolute way around this circuit in this car as well. He actually raced this car in the virtual Belcar E-Series and Winter Series, which raced here at Zolder, even in the 24 hours of Zolder as well. So he really does know this place in a TCR car, and it is showing at the moment. But this train is phenomenal. Anders Lillejorde just behind him, Norbert Leitner. Then you've got Matthew Crisp and Naveed Hussein. Detij, Smith, Guinez. Awesome, awesome train of cars here. We'll go on board with Corentin Guinez, who can see all of it going on in front of him here. He's got the best view in the house, but still not much of a view, is it? You can't see too much.
No, you are actually putting quite a lot in blind faith there, aren't you? It's you kind of think, oh, where's the corner again?
Oh.
Okay. Oh, Detij, bit of a bump and run there and gets into a big wiggle. But well, I tell you what, we do see some incredible moments getting caught here with these Audi TCR machines, as we see Dupin going fastest lap of the race, and then Woodhouse breaking that as well. So Mark Woodhouse in 3rd on the move.
Yeah, indeed. The stud muffin, as he's known at Team Mad. Down the inside goes Guinez. Late on the brakes. Doesn't work out for him because Fraser Smith's got the overspeed on the exit of the corner. But still, you can see that Corentin knows he needs to make these moves forward. We're just into the second half of the race now. Almost 11 minutes gone. And honestly, these races fly by every single time we do that. That was a very strange camera transition. That hurt my eyes, that. Wow. That really hurt my eyes then. That proper tripped me out. Woodhouse 3rd, I think. Flipping out, I've got to collect my thoughts. Freitas 4th, but yeah, like I say, Mark Woodhouse really on the move here. Now, interestingly enough, he did a 38.7 last time round. Dupin did a 38.9 and Harris did a 38.8. So the three of them very close. And Freitas actually did a 38.5, but so that would have been fastest lap of the race, but he must have had an incident point somewhere or run over a curb or something because it didn't count the time. And Harris has actually just gone off the circuit a little bit, so he is really... he's not got this wrapped up here, I wouldn't say, Peter, as here comes Fraser Smith.
No, Damien Harris doesn't appear to be. No, Anton Dupin really getting the bit between his teeth now as they go 3 wide down to Jackie X. Oh, dear me, Matthew Chris looks like he's just maybe going to take it. Is he? Is he? Oh, Lily Jordan's not going to let him have it. And here comes Hussein, who's got the quickie. Oh, yes, 3 wide down to turn 1 again. they go. Well, I tell you what, I'd want to be where Matthew Crisp is right now. You do not want to get hung out to dry here. Oh, they all come together.
Oh, beautiful stuff by Matthew Crisp. He held on to that beautifully, slotted in front of Naveed Hussain, but I don't know what extra power. Oh, I think, yeah, there was a move there between Guinez and... Oh, no, it's broken. In the words of Lando Norris, it's broken. Guinez is going to be out of the race. Oh, he needs to be careful with where that car ends up, but the front right is most definitely broken. I'm not sure what happened here because he went past Tige.
It happened at turn 2. I just caught it in the back of the shot. So if you maybe ride on board with Fraser Smith, you might get a good idea of what happened because it was panel to panel contact. So here we are.
I want to see where Guinez goes because he's down the inside. Oh, it does run him out of road a little bit. Oh, Fraser. No, it's retaliation for Fraser. And then to be fair, Guinez doesn't leave the room on the inside, and that's the hit that breaks it. So, you know, it was a little bit naughty from the pair of them. It was a bit overly aggressive. There was definite retaliation, but yeah, unfortunately, Guinez didn't have the room on the inside there for me, Peter. And well, that's what the straw that broke the camel's back, or as the often famous phrase goes, it was the contact that broke the Audi's front right suspension.
Indeed, yeah. Who would have thought an Audi RS3's TCR suspension would be made out of caramel wafers? But there you go. Fraser's still carrying on. He's not had any damage. Of course, he maybe due a little bit of fortune after the first 2 races. Really unfortunate in both of those. But now in a battle with Matthew Crisp for 8th position. And Naveed Hussain looking in his mirror saying, I am getting well out of the way of this, because that just looked like a UFC melee behind me.
Yeah, there's just so many battles going on here. Fraser's DRLs are out again. That's a few grand to get that fixed, obviously. But he's going to want to move forward now and get past Naveed Hussain. Either way, they've both had a great drive through. Naveed Hussain's gained 10 places. Fraser Smith's gained 11. Keanu Bourguignon has gained 12 to get up to 13th place. Jürgen Knockart's still leading the academy class, by the way, but he's dropped 13 places from where he started. Michael Blake is just ahead of him, but he's dropped 10 from where he started. And Anders Lillejorde still in amongst all this with his teammate Mats Borg Anderson behind him. He nearly wasn't involved in it. He's still leading the consistency class here, but he's about to get mugged by Tige, I imagine. Yeah,
Tige is going to have a look here down into the Boulderberg Bocht.
That was feisty. Ouch. And now that's how quickly things can change here, because now Lillejorde has got Michael Blake right behind him, and that is for the consistency class win with 5 minutes to go.
Well, there you go. Like you say, it can flip on its head, and of course you've got Jürgen Knockart having a great race in the academy class, 15th overall. He'll be in place to pick up some really strong points. Will Jürgen Knockart? I tell you what, he'll be loving it, Chaz.
Yeah, he'll be all over it, although running wide a little bit there, Anders Lillejorde. He's going to be hoping that he can hold him off, but yeah, like you say, Jürgen Knockart, he will be bad at back by loving it behind him. Although he's still going to gain good points by the look of it, because Godden now down in 20th. So, I mean, before there was only one position between him and Ryan Walker, but we all know what happened to Ryan, unfortunately. But honestly, the amount of different changes that we've seen between positions and so on has just been massive, you know, in terms of classes as well.
Indeed, yeah, absolutely. Of course, you do see quite a bit more overlap with the academy class and the consistency class. As you can see, the whole top 12 are in the top class, the precision class. So, if you make a mistake in the midfield, you're in place to lose a lot of positions. So it's you've really got to try and run consistently, but it's hard. It's just you never get a moment's rest, do you? All night, 3 20-minute races. It must be exhausting for the drivers.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we have similar sort of exhausting evenings in the Simracersworld Formula 3 Series. Smith and Hussain glued together. That's not going to do the cooling system in Fraser Smith's car any good. But yeah, in the Simracersworld Formula 3 Series, we've got 2 heat races, one from all the drivers in the odd-numbered positions from qualifying, then one for all the even-numbered positions. If you don't make the top 8 in either of those races, you all go through to a consolation race. And then, if you make it out of the consolation race, you're the last 8 cars on the grid in the feature. So you end up doing 3 races in one night, but they are all one after another, except for the feature, which has a 10-minute warm-up. But even then, if you've done the consolation, then do some warm-up. Oh, no! Oh, Hussein! Oh, that looked a bit naughty to me. Fraser's off as well. But Naveed, there needs to be room on the left there. Fraser's on the curb. Although he came away from the white line a bit, did Fraser, but at the same time, you know, he needs to be able to do that, doesn't he? And I mean, we learned that at Bathurst, but that's a real shame for it to end that way. But again, just more contact that just doesn't need to happen.
I think you need to go and give them a good telling off, Chaz.
Oh, I'm not going to bother.
Leave it to Bart.
Yeah, honestly, poor Bart Daleman. Honestly, I must actually give a thanks to Bart Daleman. The amount he does for this series, and you know, the information that he feeds us week in, week out, and the amount of stuff that he has to deal with. You know, with these drivers all do race incredibly hard, and you know, it's very entertaining. I'll give him that. But yeah, Bart does an absolutely wonderful job behind the scenes in this championship. So hats off to Mr. Daleman. Now this is a good fight. 2 of our very favourite Belgians, Matthias Lettige and Keanu Bourguignon. Mats Borg Anderson right behind them. Trying to just hold on at the moment is Lettige. But we know how quick Bourguignon can be. He's gained 16 places, which shows you just how quick he is. So a big climb up the order from Keanu, but a minute and a half left already, Peter, and Damien Harris has now extended that lead at the front to 1.8 seconds.
Yeah, and that's a pretty handy margin now. We'll be probably just one more to go when we hit the stripe, I would say. Yeah, likely. It's going to be close for when the white flag comes out. But yeah, this has been a really strong drive for Damien Harris. It's been a difficult meeting to begin with, but slowly but surely just dragged himself back up into contention. And yeah, we often see this when Damien races in TCR Series. If you can get that reverse grid pole, or any pole for that matter, but it seems to be in the race 3 for some reason. Perhaps when rivals are further back, he's able to get into his rhythm, and once he's in that rhythm, he's very, very strong. As strong as anyone in the championship, I would say. This is, do you know what, Chaz? This is a kind of almost Current and Green-esque drive from Damien Harris.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he's doing a great job at the moment. Very, very controlled stuff. And I imagine he doesn't want there to be another lap. He just wants this one to finish. He's got 10 seconds until the race ends, but he's got to do an entire extra lap now. Now look at this behind, though. For second place, Freitas and Dupin right together. Mark Woodhouse not far behind, and then Roman Bokler. Hadn't really seen this one developing, to be fair, but it's suddenly upon us, and we've got another fantastic fight for some podium positions and some top 5s as well.
That we do. Yeah, look at Anton Dupin. He's had to give best to Freitas, but he's wanting that spot back, it would appear, and all over the back of Freitas' rear bumper. And this has been a superb meeting for Freitas in any case, because this is this would be 3 top 5 finishes for the night, and in a reverse grid format. That's mighty impressive.
It is indeed. Once again, Freitas showing his class, because I must admit, he was a bit under the radar in the Winter Series. Like you say, you know, he wasn't setting the timing screens alight. He wasn't doing what he'd done in previous championships. That's not down to his performances, but just the fact that the level of competition stepped up so much in this championship. The Winter Series was originally going to be a GT4 championship, and unfortunately it didn't gain any interest, or not much anyway, not enough to warrant the entire series. And then all of a sudden they said, all right, what about TCRs? And there was pitchforks and flames everywhere, and you know, everybody wanted to be in, and the level of competition was fantastic. So here we are, and here is Damien Owen Harris, who was, again, as we expected, Peter, you know, it wasn't going to be the hardest race for him to win, but he's had to work still. He's had to keep that gap open, and he's going to come across the line and win round 23 of the championship. He needed that after a tough evening. Freitas is going to be second. Dupin is just going to finish third ahead of Woodhouse, with Beauclerc and Leitner, and then Matthew Crisp. Freitas does his personal best lap at the very end as well. Great stuff from him. Crisp finishes 7th. Bourguignon, 17 places gained to finish 8th. Ledejorde is going to win the consistency class just ahead of Michael Blake. Jürgen Knockaert has scored a knockout and wins the academy class. Jessica Myers, 3rd in consistency. Paul Godden, 2nd in academy, just ahead of Craig Schill, who gets a class podium. Well done to Craig. Crossing the line in 19th place. But Damien Harris, well, there was plenty going on behind him, and he took advantage of that one, didn't he, Peter? He really needed to do just that this evening.
He certainly did, yeah. It was that was a really strong drive there from Damien Harris, and really put the difficulties of race 1 and 2 behind, moved his way forward, and yeah, thoroughly deserved. And it just needs to get a bit more of the rub of the green in those opening races, and he'll be right there.
Definitely, it's just so tightly contested, isn't it? We always end up with like 10 drivers near the top that can always win these races, and I don't know how any of them really cope and manage to break away from it. Still got cars finishing the race though. Niles de Kuiper just coming across the line. And behind him is Lee Bowden as well, who actually gained a place from where he started as well. 22nd he crosses the line. But that rounds out our racing evening, and we have the final race results. Damien Harris, 2.3 seconds to the good at the end of that one, ahead of Miguel Freitas and Anton Dupin. Mark Woodhouse and Roman Boekler just behind him, 4th and 5th. Norbert Leitner 6th, Matthew Crisp 7th. Keanu Bourguignon 8th place after gaining 17 positions. What a drive. Matthias de Tige 9th, and another wonderful top 10 filled with precision class cars. Mats Borg Anderson, the last of them. He was ahead of his teammate Anders Ledejorde and Michael Blake. Jürgen Knockaert wins the academy class ahead of Jessica Myers. Bram class, Daniele Giudici, Ben Hicks and Paul Godden. We then have Craig Schill and Fraser Smith rounding out your 20, with Niles de Kuiper 21st and Lee Bowden, as we saw there, the last car on the lead lap. Behind them was Naveed Hussein and Corentin Guinez. Very, very big news for the championship, those two. Danny Fenning 25th, Ryan Walker 26th, Ashley Gaffal 27th, and Jean-Louis Deschamps unfortunately did not take the start of the race. We've had a bit of everything tonight though, Peter. We've had some fantastic battles, some silly incidents, but also some very, very intriguing ones as well. You know, a little bit of contact here and there, but still awesome racing all the way through, I'd say.
Indeed, yeah, it was really good. I mean, Zolder's not an easy circuit to overtake on, so making those moves can often involve being pretty forceful to be able to get them done. But yeah, really strong racing out there. And of course, we saw the HM Engineering guys have it kind of all their own way the first 2 races, but when that reverse grid flipped round, they couldn't really push forward as much as we thought they would.
No, that's it. It is always so difficult to get right, and you know, lap after lap, you always find yourself in a battle. One man that did just that tonight, especially in that 3rd race, was Michael Blake, who joins us in the commentary box. Michael, you seem to always have cars around you here. Do you think that was just based on the level of competition in this championship, or just this circuit tonight?
I don't want to sound like I'm criticising the track selection, but tracks like this are great fun to drive around on your own. I really like this track to drive around, but as a racetrack, I don't think it's very good.
Yeah,
it's one that if somebody's quicker, they're bunched up behind people, and vice versa, and there's just no way really to make a decent pass.
Yeah, we saw a few times tonight, you know, with lap traffic, people struggling to get out of the way, and I mean, Ben Hicks was the prime example where he just stopped at the side of the road and just went completely across the chicane. You know, he just went completely out of the way, and you know, there was no other option for him really. So it can be a tough one, but I mean, in terms of the competition around you, though, you seem to have a good few battles with people, didn't you?
Oh yeah, this league, they're so close to the fighting in this league. I don't know what the gap was. I didn't look at the times in qualifying, but the times are really close, and so everybody's like really, really consistent. There's very few bad drivers in this league. It's good, really good.
Yeah, and I mean, you've been in since quite early on in this championship. You've seen the level of it go up and up and up, and I mean, this season we've got a lot of returning names from last time, but I mean, that previous season was the real step up, wasn't it? But at the same time, it's good to have that level of competition, though, isn't it? Because you've always got somebody to race, technically.
It's great, and so the admins have done a decent job with the class structure. seems pretty much everybody's able to fight in their own little group. Yeah, it's been really well put together.
Well, hopefully it continues to go well for you, mate. 2 more race meetings, of course. We have Long Beach and then Brands Hatch. How do you think you're going to get on at either of those circuits?
Done all right at Long Beach in the World GT. I've never done well at Brands GP. I don't know why. It's one of the only tracks in real life I've actually driven around, but I cannot get my head around it in the sim.
Maybe it's just because you know it so well in real life, you get frustrated that it's not the same in the sim. Maybe it's that. That's what I'd be saying anyway.
Yeah, that's my excuse. It's nothing to do with poor talent or anything.
No, not at all, mate. Not at all.
Yeah, no, I just can't figure that place out. It's just one of those. Everybody has tracks like that. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I just can't go quickly there.
No, I agree, though. I mean, Peter and I were saying before, it is a wonderful circuit, but getting it right lap after lap is so difficult because you've always got to be right near the grass. It's such a momentum circuit, and just one little bit around there can spoil that. But, I mean, fingers crossed for Long Beach. Let's hope that goes well, mate. And, of course, we will be seeing you in a week's time when we go there. But until then, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout-out to?
Thank you guys for the broadcast. Everybody at Simracersworld put the league together. They're doing a great job, especially Bart. Everybody at Team Mad.
Cracking stuff. Good to speak to you as always, Michael, and hopefully we'll speak to you at Long Beach after you take a class win.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
Cheers. Great stuff, Michael Blake. Really, really sound guy. I know Michael for a very, very long time, and he's always been a good guy to speak to. So too has Mr. Sim Stickers himself, Paul Godden, who joins us in the box. Paul, you always, I mean, I've said the same to Michael, but I mean, I think it sort of goes around here, but you've always had cars around you tonight. It seemed like there was no shortage of action.
Yeah, tonight's racing has been really action-packed from start to finish. The nature of the track is, I think, especially with these cars, is just brings close racing together, really. Yeah, race 1 was interesting. We had a good start going along, and then as I come out the chicane, I had Ryan Walker got tagged by a couple of cars that had broken suspension, I think it was, on the right-hand side of me, and he come back across the track, and then he just fishtailed about 5 or 6 times, and I was on the brakes trying to avoid him, and I lost so much time, and I just had to I probably lost 20-30 seconds in the total, so I just had to poodle around at the back with Craig, because I couldn't just drive into him. It wasn't his fault he spun out.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's just one of them things, really. But then race 2 was going okay, and then had the big pile up on the straight. I managed to avoid that. I still haven't watched it back to see what's caused it, but it was with the new smoke we've got with iRacing now, you couldn't see a lot at all.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, actually, because it is one of the things I mentioned about that incident. You know, a friend of mine, I don't know if you know Andy Fox, but he told me about the smoke earlier. He was saying he raced in a different touring car league last night using the Jetta, and all it takes is for somebody to have a big lock-up in front of you even, and you can't see a single thing at all. But, you know, I suppose that hopefully will give people more reason to slow down. You know, sometimes you can see an incident happening and you make your call on which way you go, whether you stay flat or not, which we all know there's usually only one answer to that. But then at the same time, if you can't see anything at all, then it multiplies the risk if you go steaming into it. So, I mean, I see that as a good thing, really. Do you?
Yeah, I think it's a really good thing, actually, because say, like tonight, I come around that corner, I can't remember what it's called, and as we come onto the straight, all I could see was a wall of smoke, and I was like, do I stick to the track, or do I stick to the grass? And before, I probably would have tried to, because the cars, you could see them all braking, I was like, I might be able to get through there, and I thought, I'm not going to risk it, I'm just going to poodle down the grass, and there was wheels going everywhere, and then I saw Danelli facing the wrong way, just sneaked around the back of him, and they must have passed about 6 or 7 cars, all with wheels missing and bits and pieces. But because I was on the grass, I couldn't get a very good run after it. So a couple of the slower cars that were coming out of the accident, I might have just let them go in the end because I was wheel spinning coming off that grass. But yeah, I think the smoke's a really good thing. We had it in a race, deal in week 13. We had a similar one where the car locked up in the corner and you come into it and you're like, well, where's the apex gone? So, which is it's similar to real life, right? If you're behind a car and have a big lockup, I think you do get a big puff of smoke coming across your face. So think it's a good thing. So
Yeah, definitely. And like you say, we're here to simulate real life in this. You know, we have the ability to change things, which is great, but you know, you do want to simulate real life as best as possible. So the fact that they can do that is definitely a good thing. And if it deters some incidents and bigger pile-ups, people getting involved, then so be it. But either way, tonight looked quite entertaining from where you were. We go to Long Beach and Brands Hatch for the last 2 race meetings, 2 quite contrasting circuits. What do you make of the pair of them?
it'll be very interesting. I say Long Beach, I've only done a couple of GT races around there, and it's going to be interesting with these cars around there, especially with the close pack we've got with this championship. So if you get a car that makes a mistake, there's no room for cars going past. There's going to be some quite blocked roads, I think, and you have to take it quite easy in the first couple of laps. And the hairpin's going to be very interesting. And Brands Hatch is going to be, again, an interesting track because it's very fast. So it's you don't realise how fast and narrow Brands Hatch actually is. And yeah, I'm looking forward to both of them, actually. So Brands Hatch is one of my favourite tracks because I grew up less than or just over a mile away from there, really. And then Long Beach I'm looking forward to because it's the newest one on iRacing, and it's a very pretty track as well. So hopefully get some nice screenshots of the cars through there.
Oh yes, there certainly will be. Well, we always remember Brands in this championship for being the scene of the greatest ever bit of racing this championship has seen. So if you do get a chance, go back and watch the very first championship we had broadcast, where there was, I think it was round 2 of the championship, maybe even round 1, but the top 6 cars were all, I think it was either top 6 or top 5, were all absolutely nose to tail throughout the entire second half of the race, and
Keep an eye on that.
not one of them went off. It was unbelievable. So yeah, I'd go and give that a watch if you need to see how to deal with any of them. But either way, Paul, great to speak to you again, mate. Is there anybody you'd like to give a quick shout out to before you go this evening?
Just as always, I'd like to say thank you to SRW for putting on a great series. The admin team do a lot of work behind the scenes, especially with like the protest system we have now, which is working very well this season. And obviously like to for yourself and Peter for doing the commentary. I mean, it's been I love watching the races back, and it's great to you capture like again all the action. Like even though unfortunately I'm not quick enough to be at the front, you still capture the action throughout the whole field, so everyone gets a little bit of broadcast time as well. And then yeah, that's it really. Just and then thanks for the drivers for all being it's such good this season. I mean, it's been a great series to actually be involved in. You've had your moments and stuff like that, but it shows the passion in the series for a lot of people. And early on I was running around with Craig, and it's like we've run around all season together, and we're now gradually catching up the back of the pack a lot more than we were, so we're getting faster. We just need to make that little bit step. But yeah, it's been great fun to be part of, and I'm really pleased to put an entry in for it. So.
Well, it's been great to see you out there, Paul, and hopefully if we do another series, we'll see you again. But obviously before then, we'll see you at the last 2 rounds. So until next week, mate.
Cheers.
We'll see you then. Cheers.
Yeah, thanks so much. Bye.
Paul Godden, a really, really lovely bloke, Mr. Sim Stickers himself. And we now bring in somebody who we've not interviewed yet this season, and it's great to finally get an interview with Jürgen Knockaert. And I'm sure he's going to tell me I'm saying his name wrong after all this time. But Jürgen, it's great to have you, mate. How did you find tonight? A class win's never a bad thing, is it?
Well, I'm excited. I'm really excited to win on home soil. In my house, it was great. I didn't practice a lot. Didn't have the time. I have a new steering wheel since last week.
Oh,
but
right.
it really helped me at the end. It was really, really nice just to win in class, I think, today.
Well,
yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
And like you say, on home soil, it means a little bit more as well. But I mean, Zolder's not an easy circuit to get right, is it? We've been saying all night, you know, you've got tiny margins to all the curbs and everything around here. Was it really one that you had to focus so hard on?
Yeah, it's in real life I do some track days and sometimes a race. It's really hard in real life also for the brakes and for the car. Each year they have a 24 hours of Zolder, big race there, and a lot of cars are just having brake troubles or crashes all over. So it was really big concentrating for me just to keep it up, and because I had a lot of crashes in the last races and I was not really happy with my performance at the end. And then I skipped the last race, the last one last week, well, 2 weeks ago. And then I really remotivate myself, and then I just went for it. Unfortunately, my best friend Jean-Louis was not there because he had some technical issues with the steering wheel today. So yeah, but it was really nice. I really enjoyed it. Thanks.
Well, I mean, these cars just work around this circuit. You know, there's a few moments where you have to be careful on the brakes with the rear stepping out, but I mean, the curbs are the main issue here. How did you find it trying to survive with all of the precision class drivers coming through? Because there was a lot of them trying to make their way past, wasn't there?
Yes. I really was expecting an attack in the first corner, so I just gave some space to the guys. It has no sense just to hold up the guys and then causing crashes. I'm not that kind of driver, so I really let them go, and one way or the other they should have passed me. So but I was happy to finish 12th, I think, in the last race, 12th or 13th, I don't remember anymore. So I kept on the pace and just kept following the guys. It was nice.
Well, it certainly worked out for you, mate. Plenty of championship points as well in the academy class, and
yes.
two race meetings to go. Are you now feeling fired up and confident for the last couple of races?
Well, Long Beach will be hard, I think. I hope we all go through well the first couple of corners, but yeah, I'm pretty motivated to do that. I've raced some races on Long Beach, but brands I never driven before, so it's gonna be some training ahead for me.
Well, Brands is a very deceiving one, I'll tell you that, so make sure you put the laps in round there. But either way, it's another great circuit, and it's great to finally speak to you, Jürgen. You know, you've been on the radar for a while, and I've wanted to interview you for a while, so it's great to finally have a chat. And of course, you get that all-important question. Is there anybody that you'd like to give a shout-out to this evening before you go?
A shout out. I want to thank my wife and my kid, who is in his bed next to me, and he's hearing me talk. I said, okay, Daddy, I may do an interview, so you will just stay up a little bit longer. But especially I want to thank all the guys that are racing in my championship at my challenge.be. Sorry that I do some promotion.
That's so good.
But I put a lot of effort in my championship, and I have over 150 drivers each year.
Wow.
Unfortunately, with the pandemic, it was not really that year already here. But we're starting up pretty fast. I hope in May we're starting the championship again, and then
awesome.
Doing some charity again at the end of the year. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm pretty motivated.
Well, like I say, Jürgen, I mean, if you want to chuck me some links on Discord later, and we'll obviously help promote that, of course, across the channel as well, if you're okay with that. And I mean, it's a fantastic
Thank
cause.
you.
So yeah, hats off to you as well for getting that amount of drivers. That's brilliant stuff. So we hope it goes well for you, and of course, we hope as well that the last couple of rounds in the championship go well as well. So we'll keep an eye on you, mate. But have yourself a great evening, and we'll see you very soon. Cheers.
Thank you. And Chaz, Peter, great work for you guys also. I thank you a lot. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Jürgen. Cheers.
Bye.
What a fantastic bloke Jürgen Knockout is. Did not disappoint one bit. I was really looking forward to interviewing him, and he absolutely paid off there. What a smashing bloke. And of course, the McChallenge team as well. It's all based around the McDonald's Foundation and the charities that they have around all of that, and they managed to raise a hell of a lot of money for charity through racing as well, which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that from where we're sitting, is it?
That is what they call a win-win in the corporate world, Chaz.
Yes, indeed, mate. And to be fair, I'd say from our standpoint, tonight was a win-win. There was so much action going on. We had the races fly by, to be honest. I wish they were a little bit longer like that. Don't take any hints, Bart. But what
well, it was a win-win for us, but it was a bin for quite a lot of the drivers.
Yes,
as in
true.
Parts in the bin.
Oh yeah, there was bits strewn across all of Zolder. You know, you mentioned the circuit cracking up earlier. To be fair, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a few dents and holes in it after tonight, because that was a loud one. But talk to me about Long Beach, Peter. It's a circuit that you know a bit better than I do and know and love, but it's going to be... I'm intrigued to see what the formula is like around there, because I've seen GT3 cars there, and I happen to know that the M4 GT3 car cannot get around the hairpin unless it's on the perfect racing line. So what do you reckon he's going to do? Are we going to see some fat handbrake turns?
Well, they do have a handbrake, so that does help. Yeah, no, they should be okay. I would imagine it's... Long Beach is a really, really special track to drive around. It's got a lot of heritage as well, of course. Mainly a track that we think of in single-seater, of course, with F1 a long time ago, and of course a regular fixture on the IndyCar Championship paddock. But for those who are maybe unfamiliar with Long Beach, I'd give our listeners a little bit of homework. In 2019, the IMSA WeatherTech Championship race at Long Beach is one of the best races you'll ever see, and the drive from the factory Porsche team of Lawrence Van Tor and Earl Bamber. It's on YouTube. Just type in IMSA Long Beach 2019. Watch that, and I can assure you that will build your excitement to fever pitch for next week's race.
Nicely said, Peter. Well, we really look forward to seeing you there, everybody. That is, unfortunately, all we have time for here tonight. But this has been the Simracersworld TCR Series rounds 21, 22 and 23 from the wonderful Circuit Zolder. As you've probably realised by now, we're going to be back in a week for Long Beach, and then we've got another week, and then we're at Brands Hatch. So a fantastic way to round out the series. Thank you once again to my wonderful co-commentator, Peter MacKay. I've been Chaz Draycott. This has been Simracersworld TV, and we will see you in a week. Have a good night, everyone.